Today we're demonstrating one of our tool lift counterbalance models. This is the DTP08 model. The unique aspect of this model though is that we have a slewing sideways rotation mechanism. What it allows us to do is for 200 to 220 litre, so all your large drums, steel, plastic and fibreboard, we strap the drum into the unit, we manually lift it up to height and then we can rotate it sideways with our crank handle. This unit is manual hydraulic, so we've got our pump handle for raising the load, but we can also offer an electric lift system if you're handling lots of drums per day. So first of all, bring the unit forward towards the drum, get it between our band there. The band's got a rubber coating on either side. Once we've lined up with the drum, we come around and take our ratchet strap, pass it round the drum, and hook it onto the other side. We then pull any slack through the ratchet. So we want to make sure that all the slack's pulled through before we secure it. We then take our handle and crank away. And we stow the ratchet. So the band's tight around the belly of the drum. And then we have our rim clamp, which is around the back here. The rim clamp we'll show you close up, but we can just adjust it. I'm just going to adjust the height of it to match the height of the drum. Lift it over the top. The purpose of the rim clamp with these plastic drums are quite slippery, so it just prevents the drum moving vertically in the band assembly. So it's tighten up, just got to be snug. So we have our band around the belly and our rim clamp at the back. We've got our tiller here for steering and moving the unit around, and then our pump handle for lifting the drum. Once we clear the floor, we'll just manoeuvre the unit to a better angle. I'm going to face it towards the camera, just so you can get a view when we start to rotate. I'll put our brake on, and then we'll begin to lift. We're going to bring in an empty Mauser drum. It's an empty plastic drum. Going to use our tap to decant into this. First of all, I'm just going to line this up so when we lift to full height, it's about the right position. Then continue to lift. We then come around the side of the unit. We take off our crank handle, which is stowed on the unit, and we hook this onto the rotation mechanism. Then use the crank handle, turn it gently. It's very easy to turn. This drum's full of water, so it weighs around 200 kilo. So I'll just go around and make sure our drum's in position. Now we've got it partly rotated. So you see here, we just need to bring it over, line up the tap with the drum. Then rotate it a little bit further to about there, I'd say. The drum's very full, I've got the breather open, so I can't rotate it fully horizontal. But we'll start to decant from about there. I may lower it down actually. Let's lower it down towards the drum. About there. And then let's open our tap. So we can empty the full amount out or just a portion of the material in the drum. Once we've decanted all the material, we'd come back round to this side with our crank handle and begin to bring the drum upright once again. Once the drum's straight, simply disconnect the crank and put it back onto the unit. Then lower down. Then release our rim clamp. It's always the reverse order, so rim clamp first, and then we release the ratchet. We'll show you a close-up of ratchet in a second. Release any pressure on it, and unhook it from the unit. Can then pull the unit away and get the next drum. Just to show the crank handle in more detail, you see the crank handle stowed on the unit here. Simply unhook it from the holder and lift it off the unit. We have this hook here which connects to our rotation mechanism here. So we have a slew ring that rotates the drum. We hook onto the unit, and when we have our crank handle here, we can rotate it nice and gently. Comes towards us, so we can tip towards us if we like, or we can tip away from us to the other side. Once we're finished, we lower the handle down, unhook it from the unit, and then we stow it onto the unit and click it into place. We're now looking at the hand pump at the rear of the unit. The black handle here is our pump handle, so we hold it at the top and we pump it back and forth with full strokes to lift up the drum. Here we have the lowering lever. The lowering lever can be indexed, so we can adjust the orientation depending on which side of the unit we're standing on. To index it, we simply lift the handle up or press the red button to raise it up, and then we can literally bring it to any point we like to set the position. So I'm going to set it there, it clicks in, and you'll feel there's some tension on the handle now. We've got our arrows here to show which direction to turn, and we want to turn it anti-clockwise to lower the drum down to the ground. So we take our handle, pull it, and lower the drum down to the floor. When we let go, the spring returns it to a closed position. Once again, opening it against the spring and letting go, it springs back to position. If I want to index it, I can lift it up, position it anywhere I like, so I'm going to position it here, and then the spring will activate from this position. We'll now show you how to use the ratchet and strap mechanism. The strap passes around the drum and is hooked on to the other side of the unit. We pass the strap through the ratchet, and then we pull out the slack. We can lift this up here. We want it to pass down the middle of the drum. We pull out the slack. We then, if our ratchet's nice and straight, we then pull this lever to bring it into the activating range, and then we crank the handle. We don't have to over tighten it, just so it's nice and snug and secure around the belly of the drum. Once we've tightened it, we can let go of the slack end. To stow the ratchet, we pull the little handle here and close it so it's closed and out of the way. If we were going to disconnect the ratchet, so say we'd finished pouring our drum, we'd pull this lever here, bring the ratchet all the way around, continuing to pull this lever, and when we go over the centre, we'll hear a click, which is the tension being released. We can then let go of the handle, the ratchet's nice and straight, we pull it out, we pull the strap, slack once again. We can now unhook the strap and remove the drum. When securing the drum, we always secure the ratchet and strap first, and then we secure the rim clamp. The rim clamp is designed to grip to the top edge of the drum and prevent any slippage up or down as we're lifting. The rim clamp's got lots of adjustment, so if we're handling drums where the height varies very slightly, we adjust the height of the rim clamp by removing this R-clip, holding the rim clamp with one hand and taking out the pin. We can then slide the rim clamp down or up, and you can see the series of holes here. So what we do is we pull it all the way up till it fits beneath the rim of the drum, and then whichever hole is visible, we put our pin through and lower it back down. You can see here we've got a bit of tolerance to allow for the different hole positions. Okay. Once we set our height, we take our R-clip and we just lock that pin in place so it can't come out. To then attach it to the drum, we lift it up under the lip, hook this over the top. You can see we're sandwiching the lip here, one underneath and one over the top, and we spin down the wing nut on the top. Just has to be hand tight. You can see we're nice and secure, ready to lift. Once we finish tipping, we would loosen off the wing nut. Lift off the top hook, like so. We'd then disconnect the strap around the belly of the drum. At the rear of the unit, we have our tiller. So the tiller's for pulling the unit or pushing the unit. The tiller also steers the single wheel at the rear. So when we want to change direction, we simply turn the tiller. We've got a very tight turning circle, so we can turn in very compact or tight areas. When we want to park the unit, we've got a park brake. It's important we wear safety shoes. We press down, park brake, and that stops the unit moving when we're not using the machine. You may find sometimes that when you're pumping the lift handle here, that if you apply the brake, it prevents the unit rocking backwards and forwards. To remove the brake, put a foot under it and lift it up until it clicks. It's important not to activate the brake with our hands. We should always use our feet with suitable footwear.